So we're getting some more multi-platform Xbox games, it seems, and it is not that surprising. And I'll talk about why. Of course, right after I recorded my podcast, the Bonfire Gaming Podcast, the news broke that Doom, the next Doom game, would not only be announced at the next Xbox showcase here in a couple weeks, which had been rumored for a while, but it's also going to be multi-platform, including over on PlayStation. So this was something that broke from some kind of weird sources, some unreliable ones that I call out in my podcast. So there's egg on my face, but that's fine. The person's still mostly a liar. But it has been confirmed by Jez Corden, who is pretty reliable with Microsoft stuff, as well as some other things. So we're going to talk about the multi-platform of Doom, what that means for other games. And I also want to show something that Jez said about the next Xbox. So let's start off with a video of Phil Spencer. So I'm going to show a clip from the 2020 stream kind of thing they did after they acquired Bethesda ZeniMax, where they talked about things like exclusivity and things like that, because that was a big topic. And at that time, people didn't know if like Starfield was going to stay exclusive and all of these other things. And so obviously things have changed a bit since then. But this little part of this roundtable they did is notable in the Doom conversation.
So obviously I can't sit here and say every Bethesda game is exclusive, because we know that's not true. There's contractual obligations that we're going to see through, as we always do in every one of these instances. We have games that exist on other platforms, and we're going to go support those games on the platforms they're on. There's communities of players. We love those communities, and we'll continue to invest in them. And even in the future, there might be things that have either contractual things or legacy on different platforms that we'll go do. But
so that's kind of what I'm pointing out there, and I'm going to rewind it and play it again.
Players, we love those communities, and we'll continue to invest in them. And even in the future, there might be things that have either contractual things or legacy on different platforms that we'll go do. But
so, you know, we knew that with the that there was games like with Bethesda, there was Ghostwire Tokyo with Tango RIP, as well as the time manipulation game. You can tell me in the comments what it's called, because I'll remember as soon as I'm done with the recording. There were contractual obligations that there were deals signed with Sony for day one exclusives and things like that, that they obviously went along with. The maybe more notable thing now is, you know, the second part of that, where he just said a legacy on other platforms. And it seems that's where the Doom situation is going to fall. That Doom is going to remain multi-platform, specifically on PlayStation, because it's always been. And what's the reason this gets into the weeds is because arguably, you know, lots of Bethesda games were multi-platform before. Why wasn't Starfield? Well, they've been pretty clear for a while that they were going to pick and choose what was and wasn't. This is the first time I think we're going to see a game maybe release on other platforms. I will specify that hasn't really been clarified. I've not seen anyone confirm yet that Doom is going to be day one multi-platform. It could be. I just haven't seen anyone specify that quite yet. So especially if this is a thing where 6 months later, 12 months later, then it goes to PlayStation, that kind of falls a little more in line with things that happen to like Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, Sea of Thieves, and Grounded. So I don't think this is that big of a deal. I think, at least for me, what always gets lost in these conversations or this news is Game Pass. PlayStation doesn't have Game Pass. If it gets sold on PlayStation, if someone buys it for PlayStation, they're paying full price for it. And you know, I won't, because I have Game Pass. Now, in order for Game Pass to make sense, you need to have basically a new game, at least a new game every month that you would have bought anyways. And I've probably had that so far. So that's why Game Pass is worth it to me. Maybe it's not to you. So if you're a straight up, Xbox player who will never buy Game Pass for whatever reason, then this is maybe a little more upsetting, but it probably still shouldn't be, but we'll get into it. Some other things that were interesting here. This was Jez kind of confirming the rumor. The original rumor was from Nate the Hate, who has been right about a lot of leaks and rumors in the past. Also has screwed up so badly before they've had to like basically apologize for being so wrong about some different rumors and things like that. So I believe it was right to be skeptical about them saying that. This seems a little more certain. So what was most interesting about this post, though, was down in the comments, and it has nothing to do with Doom. I don't care about Doom. It's gone. What I do think is interesting is this comment here where someone replied to Jez replying to someone who I have blocked. They said, so does that mean the next Xbox consoles are going to be pre-built PCs by third-party companies? So this was in reference to something that this blocked person posted. It was a Discord leak from, I think, a while ago that suggested that there was going to be third-party Xboxes in the next gen. What Jez responds, and he says, the next Xbox is a heavy Windows slant, will be a reference device for manufacturers making devices like the Asus ROG Ally, most likely, the Surface 11. So I don't know if he's talking about the handheld here, or if he's talking about the actual, like your normal console. I think both of them are possibilities, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. It's something I would have to dig back through the old podcast or my old videos, but I predicted a long time ago that something like this may happen where we, instead of getting a new Xbox every 7 or 8 years, we may get a new one every 2 or 3 years, and it may even get to the point where they're essentially just pre-built PCs with the Xbox UI and kind of like the operating system on it, or even as that just being like an app on the device that you can normally use as a computer, essentially. So I think this is all very interesting. In some other articles, I believe it was Jez that posted that there was a bunch of like third-party announcements people are excited about within Microsoft of games that are coming to Game Pass that are going to get announced at the showcase. We're very likely going to see games like Perfect Dark, Fable, Gears of War 6, all games that will probably be first-party exclusives. And but of course, all of that's going to be trounced by the news of the doom of Xbox, because they have decided to put Doom on multiple platforms. I think I think people are struggling with the idea that Xbox probably doesn't care much about selling hardware anymore, but they still want to have hardware. I think people are struggling too with the fact that and their strategy has been for a long time, they aren't trying to sell units necessarily. They're trying to sell subscriptions to Game Pass. And maybe one day that strategy will change and they'll do something different. But the things they're doing are the things we're probably going to see PlayStation and other platforms do in the future. The days of being completely focused on one plastic box that has terrible profit margins to be the end-all be-all for people is probably coming to an end. And it's kind of funny how Microsoft is likely leading that charge, taking all the hits for it, while other platforms are almost certainly going to follow suit one day. Maybe not anytime soon. Platforms like PlayStation are a little more old-fashioned in the way they do things. Maybe. And, they do have new leadership, so we may see them do things differently as well. So I just found this to be an interesting situation. I don't care about Doom being multi-platform, whether it's day one or later. Cool, whatever. For me, it's still going to be the day that we see Halo, especially the single player, on PlayStation. If we see Gears of War 6 on PlayStation, that's when I will even be one who will probably call him out for jumping the shark a bit, because that seems like a little bit of a bridge too far. We aren't there yet. We may never get there. Maybe we will. I don't know, but I'll be here to talk about it either way. If you like this video, if you like getting news like this, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button if you liked it, and leave a comment down below with what you think about Doom being on PlayStation 5, what you think about there maybe being Xboxes made by all kinds of manufacturers in the future, and how you think kind of the Game Pass experiment is going. I am curious to get your opinions. Please check out the link down in the description of the show. You can check out things like my 2 podcasts that I have. I also stream, supposedly, and a bunch of my my other videos that are on here. Plus, that link has ways that you can support, including if you want to become a YouTube member right here. It's one of the best ways to do it because you get videos like this early. That's all I have for this one. So until next time.